Hi, my name is Diego Mendez. I'm a foreclosure and real estate lawyer here in Miami, Florida. I've had a lot of people come up to me and ask me, Diego, do more of these videos about how to buy properties at auction. It seems like it's a fascinating subject a lot of people are into because you basically, in many occasions, can get a much better deal at auction than you can buying it on the market. For one thing, there are no real estate agents, and the closing costs are much less if you buy something at auction. The downside of buying something at auction, obviously, is that you need all the money. So we're going to talk about all these different things as we go through some of these properties. So we're going to jump right into it in about 5 seconds. So what I did here is I went and pre-recorded a live auction, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the video as the video is playing. So first we're going to talk about this one property located at 4555 Northwest 95th Avenue in Doral, Florida. So that is, Doral, Florida is a section of Miami that is west of the airport. It's close to the Trump National Golf Course, which is the Doral Trump National Golf Course, and it's an up-and-coming and very hip and fun place for a lot of people are moving to. The property values have gone up significantly. So this property is at auction. So we're going to talk about what you're looking at here. So if you look at this little card here, this is the actual auction. It started running, and I'm gonna start running it in a second. But I just want to show you what we're talking about here. So the first thing that we look at is the final judgment amount. The final judgment amount here is $682,241.36. So what that means is the bank went through the foreclosure process and won the foreclosure and has a judgment against the property for $682,241.36. Generally, the bank wants at least that much money before it will agree to before it will lower its bid and let somebody bid less. So what that means is, this is not the case in every situation, but in many cases, in order to get this property, you have to bid more than $682,000. So we're going to start the auction right now. So as you can see, the auction's running down. There's already a bid here of $656. Obviously, that's less than the $682, so it's very likely that this person's not going to get it. So the issue here is that the assessed value, which you see this number here, is basically the amount of money the county thinks that the property is worth for this property tax. There's really no it's not attached to any kind of reality about the actual value of the property. The issue is that many times people look at the assessed value and they say to themselves, wow, this property is worth it's only worth 700 is worth $240,000. Why should I bid on it? That's not the value. The value is right here. So this is what we're going to look at. I opened up this special app that I have here, the special website that I use, and it basically has a valuation. The valuation here is $771,000. What that means is that this website values is similar to Zillow. This values this property at $771,000. So there's a little bit of room there in terms of what the final judgment amount is and what the value of the property. So this property is a very nice property, and it's located in an excellent part of Miami. Basically, it is right next to the Trump National. It is one of the best areas in Miami to live. It's a hot area. A lot of people are moving here. You can see that this is an older property. It probably hasn't been maintained as well as other properties around it. So there's actually a lot of upside. You can fix this one up and probably make some money. So before we get into it, we're going to look at what's going on here. And actually, the property looks like it has sold already, or it's very, very close to selling. So let's take a look at it. It is at $680, the high bid, and it is going to probably go for that amount. So at $680,000, yep, that's it. So what that meant there is that the property has sold to a third-party bidder. You see this right here, it says third-party bidder. A third-party bidder would be you. If it went to the bank, it would say sold to the plaintiff. But the third-party bidder is the person that's bid. They bid $680,000, and they got this property, which we have already valued, it looks like, at $771,000 according to this website. So it looks like they have $100,000 immediate equity that if they were to just turn around and sell the property, obviously with closing costs a little bit more, but there is some equity there, and there is some amount of money that these people can make with this property. So this is one property that I think these guys did really well. They bought it, they did really well with. Okay, we've got 3 more properties that we're going to talk about in about 5 seconds. So this next property that we're going to look at is one that's a totally different area. This is down by the zoo, which is west of Miami, and way south. However, this is another up-and-coming area. A lot of people are interested in buying properties in this area because there are a lot of families live out here, and it's the most densely part of Miami where a lot of families live. So if we take a look at the foreclosure docket here, we can see that the final judgment $380,499. The assessed value is $295,449. So in order to bid on this property, you can already see that somebody started the bid here at $385. So they're already going over the final judgment. So somebody really wants this property. So this is going to definitely sell to a third-party bidder. The high bid right now is $385,100. The increments are either $100 or $1,000, or you can actually go as far as you want, as fast as you want. But usually it's about $100. And every time that you bid a little bit more, it resets the clock. You see that the time running is counting down. Somebody bid a little bit more there, and it reset the clock for a minute in about 10 seconds. So that's how it works. You bid, and then if nobody else bids above you, you have a minute, and then you own the property. So in this situation, what we're going to look at is the value of the property. So this one is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house in the area of southwest Miami. There are no pictures of the property. It's kind of obscured. Usually that's sometimes the case when the property was never put on the market before it went to foreclosure. There are no pictures anywhere. So we can't really expect that. But we can look at the location. The location is out here, out west a little bit. It is basically by the zoo. It's behind the zoo. The zoo is here. This is the zoo right here, and this is the property on some water. It might even be a waterfront. Let's take a look. We can take a look at it. No, it's not waterfront, but it is right there, right off of the area there in southwest Miami. So this is a very good area. A lot of people want to live here. A lot of people are looking to move to this area. And this house, like I showed you, has a huge upside, has a ton of equity potential. So what we're looking at here is the high bid is $388,000. It keeps going up by little and little. So people ask me, well, how do I know, what is the status, of the liens and the different things that are going on with this property? And when I buy the property at auction, do I actually own the property? So let me just tell you something. There's a couple ways to look at this. You can be somebody like me that can look at a docket, look at the property records, and not 100%, but about 90% of the time, I can tell you with pretty good certainty if this property has extra liens on it. Now, the only liens you really have to worry about for these properties are number one, if this is not a first mortgage. Now, I did some research, and this is a first mortgage. So that means that if it's a first mortgage, this foreclosure will wipe out all smaller mortgages, and it's secondary mortgages, not smaller. The amount don't really matter. It's mortgages that come later. So second mortgages, lines of credit, things like that. That's all wiped out with a foreclosure. So in this situation, basically this is a first mortgage. The only thing that does not get wiped out are property taxes and HOA liens. I'm talking about Florida. Other states might have different laws, but I'm guessing that's very similar in most places. So in Florida, you can wipe out all liens except the HOA and property taxes. So I think we might actually have a less than 10 seconds here. We might be getting very close to the end of this one. And I believe that's it. At $392,000. Yep. So this one sold for $392,000. So let's go take a look again at what we decided was a valuation according to these websites. So we have a $528,000 property that these people bought for $392,000. So that's a very good purchase there. They got, it looks like almost about 100 and, what did I say? What did I say here? It was, let's go back here, 392. So they bought it for 392, and the property is worth, let's go back here, 528. So that's about $130,000 right off the bat. Without touching that property, these people, if they flip it, can make a significant money. Now, in this situation, this is actually a good flip. A lot of people would make money on this one if you knew what to do with it. So, that's another reason why foreclosures and buying foreclosures is a very good thing, because you can make money. People call me all the time, well, how do I buy these properties? It's not as complex as it appears. However, you do need to know what you're doing, because you can lose your shirt and you can make mistakes. The next one I'm going to show you is one where whoever bid on this property is going to make a mistake. So we're going to show you that in about 5 seconds. So the one thing you need to really seriously be careful of when you're buying foreclosures is when you bid on a property and the foreclosure is not a first mortgage foreclosure. If you bid on a property and you win a property that the foreclosure was not the first mortgage, you have just thrown away your money, basically, because you bought a property that's subject to the first mortgage. So if it's a line of credit or a judicial lien or something that you're foreclosing on, then you will basically put your money and put it into the garbage, unless you're willing to then negotiate with the first mortgage and pay off the first mortgage. Some people are willing to do that, but you have to be extremely careful. So we're going to talk about this next property here. This property here is one that's located in a really expensive area in Miami, very close to the beach, Aventura, Florida. Aventura, Florida is famous for its mall. It's a giant mall, one of the biggest malls in the United States, but it's also its proximity to the beach. And it's a huge area where there's a lot of people who have retired, who have moved there because of its safety and its location and its small town feel. So when you see a property in Aventura, Florida at auction, of course it's going to draw a lot of attention. Now this one in particular is going to draw a lot of attention. I'm going to start running the foreclosure here, because this is about 8 minutes long, so we don't want to say it for 8 minutes. But so this one, you look at this property and you say to yourself, wow, even without knowing anything about Aventura, you know that this property is worth more than $93,000, which is what the final judgment says. Even the assessed value is more. Well, the assessed value is a low amount that's set by the county that just lowers the tax that you pay. It has nothing to do with the actual value. The final judgment is what the property is. The foreclosure. The final judgment of foreclosure is $93,000. So you have to bid over $93,000 to get the property. We have bids of $141,000 here, with about a minute in. So people are already bidding. Now, I did some research on this property, and I'm going to tell you a couple things. Number one, this is the situation where this property is worth a significant amount of money. First, I'm going to show you where it is, and then we'll talk about how much this property is actually worth. So this, you can see it's right here, this little red dot. This is the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. That's the beach. You can see how close it is to the beach. It's very, very close to the beach, and it's very close to Aventura Mall, and this is Aventura Mall right here, this area right here. And this is a golf course. This is a highly sought after area. A lot of apartment houses, a lot of apartment buildings. The property itself, there are no pictures of this property because of the nature of this foreclosure. It is worth $624,000. I would say that this property is worth more than that even. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So there's a couple of things you need to worry about when you're bidding on this property. Number one, that final judgment is very, very low, which means that you are dealing with probably a second mortgage or an association. Now, associations also foreclose on properties. An association, I can tell by looking at the case number if it's association or not. This is not an association loan, association foreclosure. This is some bank or somebody else that's foreclosing. But I can tell you that it's unlikely that this is a first mortgage, because who is going to let a first mortgage go, a property that's only has $93,000 in foreclosure? It's very, very rare. There's all kinds of ways to get money to pay this off, so you have to be really careful. The bids are now $380,000. The final judge is $93,000. Because I did this in the past, I know there's about 5 minutes left, so this is going to keep going up. These people that are bidding at this rate really either don't know what they're doing or they know something I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't know, and I don't want to say anything bad about it because maybe they're much smarter than I am and they understand something I don't know. But let's assume that they are just bidding because the amounts are low and they're just dumping money into this. I did my research on this, and there is a first mortgage on this from what I've seen. I could be wrong because I did not run a title search, but from looking at the public records, I determined that there probably is a first mortgage. If there's a first mortgage in this situation, what would happen is, right there, it's a good number, 390. Let's say it closed at 390,000. That's almost $300,000 over the final judgment. What happens to that excess $300,000? It goes to the owner. And I've seen this over and over again, that people overbid on these properties, and the surplus, the legal term is surplus, the surplus goes to the owners, the people that own the property. So maybe they lost the property, but they're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars on top of the value of their homes, on top of the time that they lived without paying. Now they're getting $300,000, $400,000, which just seems like how this one's going to go. In about 3.5 minutes, it's going to end. So what's happening here? There's bids of $395,000, $395 and $100. What would happen is the second mortgage that is foreclosing would get their $93,000, and then the difference would go to the owner. What happens to the people that buy it? The people that buy it get title. You do get title in their property. However, what you're actually getting is the ability to negotiate with the first mortgage. If you don't know what the first mortgage is, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars over what you've paid. You have no idea what the first mortgage is in these properties. You can kind of determine it from looking at the public record, but it's not 100% that you can determine that, and you're risking a lot of money. I have had people come into my office who have bought these properties and who overpaid. This happens all the time with associations. Associations are notorious for this. They are very low. The foreclosures are $20,000, $30,000, and that's what people imagine foreclosure auctions should be. They say, "Wow, I'm going to get this property for $30,000, $100,000, whatever." And then I had somebody come in recently who paid $100,000 on a $30,000 foreclosure of an association. They came in, and but then as soon as they got title, they went to the house. The people that lived there were super happy. They got $100,000 surplus, and then they started receiving notices from the bank. The bank said, "Well, we want our collateral." So they turned around. The bank turned around and foreclosed on the new owners. So now these people didn't have the money to pay the bank, so they lost all their money that they invested in the foreclosure, and then they lost the property. So you have to be really careful. You have to really know what you're doing in these situations. It is kind of common sense. I'm going to tell you right now that the property, a property that's worth, the property is worth more than $98,000, and you still bid on it. Well, again, people might know something I don't know. It's very possible. I am not the only person on this earth that does this. So there's people that do this on a higher level that pay a lot of money. Maybe they know something I don't know, but from my understanding, from what I saw, from looking at the public record, which is something that anybody can do. It's just, if you're going to invest this much money, you should get a lien search on these properties. This one I would never even attempt to bid on this one, because you're not getting to get anything here. I mean, unless you know something I don't know, which means that you are dealing with the owners, that the owners are somehow with you in the bidding process, which is possible. It happens, and they're trying to wipe these people out. I don't know. But if that was the case, then they would just pay off the $93,000. I can't see it. This one's coming to an end. So it looks like the high bid is $410,000. $410 and $100. That's the final bid. So what did these people buy? What did these people get when they bought this property? I think they probably bought themselves a problem. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, I'm not the only person on this earth that knows what's going on. But it seems like, even though this RVM says $624,000, they would have to turn around and pay off the first mortgage in order to sell this property. So they've already invested $400,000, and let's say the first mortgage $300,000, which it could very well be. Then you have, and if it has other liens, you're going to have to deal with that, because the liens that you have, if there's another lien before you in this situation, you have to pay that too. So that's a problem. So in this case, it is in a great area. It's right here next to the beach. But I believe that these people made a mistake, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to say that 100%. It's very possible that they know something I don't know, but it seems like they purchased something that is subject to another lien, and they are going to possibly regret it. We're going to talk about one last property in 5 seconds. Okay, this last one I picked this one to show you because this one actually shows you how you can make quick, fast money if you have money to invest. Now, this property is probably the best one on the entire docket here of the day that all these properties are being sold. So we're going to show it to you right here. The property is the final judgment is $282,000. This is not a second mortgage. This is a first mortgage. The high bid already started at $700,000. That means that this is going to go really fast to somebody. Now, the thing here, what we need to first, we're going to look at where it is, so you kind of get a sense of what we're talking about here. So this property is located with this red dot. The last one was in Aventura. This is also in Aventura, but this is right next to the beach. This is a single-family home next to the beach, which is something that's extremely rare. This does not exist very often. You will not find these properties for sale. So the fact that it went for auction is a pretty big deal. So you can see this is this area here, which you see is called Golden Beach, is the richest area in the United States. Beyond Palm Beach. So it's Palm Beach and then this area. These are all multimillionaires. This house here is a couple hundred yards away from one of the richest areas in the United States. This property is is a property here that's worth $1.6 million. So somebody is going to make some really good money on this, and they're going to basically make some money, hopefully. So let's go back and let's take a look at the foreclosure, which this one's a fast one. So actually, I'll just let it play as we talk real quick. So you can see the time remaining. The high bid $700,000. The property's worth $1.6 million. Could be worth more. If you put money into it, it's going to be worth even more than that. That system, that website that I showed you, is a website that basically only, it's a guesstimate of what the properties are worth. So the next bid went up $100,000. So the first one was a 700. The second bid went up $100,000. So this next bid went up $100,000. Now the high bid is $800,000. The question I get is, do I need all the money? Yes, you need that, and you need more, because you have to pay 1.5% to the clerk, and you have to pay doc stamps. So in this case, it's probably another $20,000. Oh, here we go. This property was sold at $800,000. So it was sold in 1 minute. Okay. So again, we're going to look at this again here. This is the property, $1.6 million. It was sold for $800,000. It's an $800,000 plus $1,000 plus windfall for these people that bought it. They can just turn around and sell it. They can fix it up. They can do a lot of different things with this property and make a lot of money. So these people, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's not a huge property. It's looks like it is 2,600 square feet, but the location is unbelievable. This is an area that you cannot get anything. I'm sure that if we did an analysis of the valuation of the properties here, you're looking at multiple millions of dollars. I don't think anything you're going to get. You're not, and especially a single family home in this area is multi-million dollars. So these people, whoever bought this property, made a killing. So that's it for now. We're talking about buying foreclosures. I'm going to keep doing these videos because you guys seem to like it. I try to answer questions. People have asked me very specific questions, and I try to answer them, but I will try to answer some questions. But for now, just watch my videos. I'll keep talking about these different subjects. I'm also going to make other videos about mortgage modification, loan modifications, and how to keep yourself out of foreclosure. But it's also interesting for people to see what the foreclosure process is like.